From the headlines that move us
to the plays on the fields and the people making a difference.
It's news, sports, and stories that keep our community alive.
This is the Heartbeat of Tampa Bay.
I'm Christopher Ingram.
And I'm Sarina Fazan. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And Christopher, you and I have such huge smiles on our faces right now.
We do, not just because it's Valentine's week, but because Rita Lowman is here with us.
Rockstar Rita Lowman.
We didn't know what to put on the lower thirds because you just have so many titles. You're involved in so many amazing things. So we figured rockstar. You okay with that?
Hey, I love it. Thank you so much.
Cool.
And Rita, I've got to share too. So Christopher did this amazing LED wall. You know, I love Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And look, there's one floating green heart, and you have green eyes as well. We were talking about only 2% of people in the world have green eyes.
I did not know that, but I've always loved green eyes. It's so different because people will say, "Oh, I love your eyes." Yes.
So the green's for you too.
Hey, thank you.
So I know you've known Rita a long time. I've known Rita a long time. I can't remember. I think maybe Yvonne Fry introduced us.
Very likely.
But I have to tell you, I have always been so appreciative of you because when I first started my solo radio show, your company at the time, you were president of Pilot Bank, and you were my very first sponsor of my radio show.
Absolutely.
And I just appreciate that. So I could probably recite that ad because I did a live read 3 or 4 times a day for, "Hi, this is Chris Ingram. Do you not like the way you're treated at your bank? Well, Pilot Bank has the best customer service." That kind of thing. It was great.
I loved it. And I loved being on your show then.
Yeah, we had you on then too.
It was always so much fun. And then Sarina, I've been with you for quite some time.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Yes. You're such a pillar, though, in this
Oh.
community, Rita.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I've been able to see your daughter grow, and it's just all cool. I love it.
It is all cool.
Yeah.
Well, you do, again, so much. I know you were involved with the bowl.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, yeah.
You've been doing that for years.
I have been, and I've been chair. I was chair for 2 years, and that's the ReliaQuest Bowl. And we have had so much fun, but what I'm most proud of is this year we will have given $4 million back to our community organizations.
Wow.
Now, these are organizations that may not necessarily receive any kind of grants or anything along those lines. So it's not like we're giving $100,000 to an organization. We're giving the $5,000, $10,000 that's going to make a difference to some of these smaller organizations.
That's fantastic.
And so $4 million just
incredible.
over the
That's
last
really
few
amazing.
years.
Yeah.
So we're so excited. And then, of course, we've had great impact, community impact, because of all the economic people that come in. You know, you think about Vanderbilt, those teams loved being here. Vanderbilt had never been to a bowl game like ours. Iowa has been several times, and they're great to come. But Vandy loved it. We always have good schools, and I have a great time. So one of my prides is being on the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Well, you do such a great job.
Thanks.
So you're also involved in tons of other things. The IBIS Foundation.
IBIS.
So, IBIS. See, I got it wrong.
Yeah,
again.
that's okay.
And he was even practicing.
I was. I'm terrible at that. I get in my head. I can't lose it. All right. So tell us about the IBIS Foundation.
Oh, well, we just had our gala this past weekend that I had the pleasure of chairing. And I am really very strong on mental health, as both of you know. It means a lot to me. I lost my son about 6 years ago. And so when they asked me if I would chair it, I really said, yes, that means a lot to me. I had received the Guy King Award. So this year, the Guy King Award went to Sheriff Chronister and the entire Sheriff's Department for their partnership with us. And then Tracy Otto also received it. But what was so important is we had never brought these two groups together. IBIS is now Grace Point and Cove Behavioral, and they're one organization. And we set a goal, a modest goal, but we actually raised $450,000.
That's fantastic.
Wow.
And, we did that with so many good friends. I've got to share with you, Scott Fink from the Fink Automotive Group gave us a car.
Wow.
Golden Diamond, Julie gave us a great piece of, she actually gave us a gift certificate so you can pick out whatever jewelry you want. We had so many people, and some of their board members gave their homes in Colorado or North Carolina to be able to bid on. So
That's cool.
to say that this was great, we filled hotel floor to the max.
Wow.
That's
and
incredible.
Yeah, it was really good. Even, it's so funny because y'all both know my husband, and he's not the kind, unless it's a football game, he's not the kind that's going to always go every place. But he did, and he said, I'm really glad because it touched my heart. And when it can touch his heart, then I know it's touched others.
That's
So
super
that was a great one.
So Rita, even in the 2 examples that you shared, and there's so many other examples on the incredible fundraising that has happened, do you feel like your background in banking also, of course, contributed to all of this. Can you share your career with us?
Oh, yeah. Well, I had the pleasure of being in banking I still am in banking. I sit on 2 bank boards, but physically being in banking for 45 years. And that's a pretty long career. And did I really feel as myself where it was a salesperson where I went out? No. I was a person that wanted to help you. And Chris, you know this. If you need something, you can call me and let's talk about it. And one of the things that I love even today is when somebody will call. I received a call yesterday and they said, can you help me with this? Well, absolutely, I'm going to help you with it. And what I've always tried to do is I never want to push anything on anyone. And our bank may not have been the fit for you. I will find you that right bank. And it's really interesting. One of my friends was president of a large bank here in the area, and during the PPP loans, they were doing really large clients. We were doing smaller clients. And he called me and said, Rita, I can't help these 2 clients of mine. Would you help them? And absolutely we will. Now, we're not going to take that client away from him, but yet we're going to be there. And same with him. If there's a large client that I cannot help, we'll pass that around.
Well, I got to share something, testament to what she just said about helping people. It was her culture within the whole bank. And when she was at Pilot Bank, and I'm sure everywhere else, but my only interaction with you as a business leader was at Pilot Bank. And one day I was telling Hanisha Patel, who worked at Pilot, she was kind of my banker there, and I was telling her I was having a hard time getting my kids' 521 college savings things set up. And she goes, Chris, just bring it in, I'll do it for you. And literally, I brought in whatever social security numbers and information she needed and set those accounts up at Fidelity. It wasn't even anything related to Pilot. They didn't make any money. They just did it as a customer service. Like, what a great way to establish how to deal with people.
Well, and that's what I always talk about. There's a very large restaurant now here in the market, and 30, 40 years ago, they called me and said, we're starting out. Can you help us? And it's really interesting because I'm not going to share the name, but if I did, you would say, wow. Because we said, absolutely, would love to. And they followed me even to a couple of other banks as I left. Now, they kept their primary bank one place, but other accounts. And, that's what you do. You might not be able to help that person right then, but you can start talking with them about what they're going to need as you move forward. And the other thing is, knowing all of these bankers that we know, we're able, for instance, Saturday night, we had banks that were giving us $2,500 CDs to be able to auction off. Those were my friends. Those were bankers that had either banked with me in the past, or worked with me in the past, or were just friends that I called up and said, will you buy a table? Will you do this? And they would say, yes, we're going to support it for sure. And that's what's so great about the banking industry. You're there to support each other.
That's fantastic.
Well, Rita, and I'm so glad that we are talking about this because it just parlays into one of your other nonprofit endeavors and always giving back to the community. Because as you share your story, and clearly so successful, helping so many people, I mean, you lived, like it was your world. And then you're retired, but very, very active. But you're also right now helping other people who are facing retirement and are emotionally like, what do I do now?
Absolutely. What's so interesting is I've shared this with many people is, you can't worry about being financially ready to retire because if you're not, then you're not going to retire. So we put that beside.
I want people to absorb that.
Yes.
Really, it's true. But like if you're not financially ready, you're not retiring.
Yeah, you're not going to retire because you're not going to retire in a lifestyle that you're comfortable with. And once I was ready to retire, I was going to retire after I turned around my 4th bank. But then I said, okay, we'll do it one more time. And we did it. Gary and I invested in the next bank and we did it one more time. And then I said, no, I definitely am ready to retire. However, I've been planning for 5 years of what was that going to look and feel like. Because again, you can't just wake up and say, oh, I'm retired.
Retired, right?
Yeah,
65.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Exactly. And you have to know what you're wanting to do. And that emotional piece of it is, what's going to be my next day? Because all of a sudden, I'm not the bank anymore. The bank's not me anymore.
What are you going to do?
I know. I don't have those people to manage or to help as I've done in the past. So you have to be really ready. I actually took 3 months off and I went to the farm because what had happened a year earlier is my son had passed away, and I never had time to absorb that. And when I say that,
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. But what I'm saying is, because I was turning a bank around, selling it, getting it ready. And so my husband was actually building our lake, redoing that for Clint.
Place up in Georgia.
That's in Georgia. And he was doing that, and that was helping him because he was doing it in memory of Clint. Yeah. My son was working extremely hard because he's with our State Department. And at the time, I believe he was in Brazil or Africa. I don't remember where because he's been so many places. So all of a sudden, I'm retired. I need to think about Rita. And so I'll go to the farm for about 3 months and say, what do I want that next day to look like? And how do you want it to work? Well, I knew I wanted to give back to the community. And I also wanted to sit on at least one bank board. So 5 banks had offered me an opportunity to serve on their board. One had asked me if I'd come and take their bank over. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that again, but I do want to find that right bank. And I did. I found 2 great banks. One was an investment company. And the reason I did that is because of my banking career. I knew everything you could think about on the commercial, the retail side, but I did not know a lot about the trust and investment side. And I wanted to continue to learn. And that's what I suggest to people. You want to continue to learn. And maybe this is the time that you do that second career. Or what we also see in banking, a lot of banking center managers or officers will all of a sudden say, I just want to work 20 or 30 hours a week, so I want to be a teller. You know what? It is great to have a former banking center manager as a teller because first of all, they're sitting there going, oh man, I don't have to worry about all these people every day. I just have to worry about the client that comes in front of me. And so those are the types of things you want to think about. Or how are you going to educate yourself? Education is really important, and you never want to stop along those lines. And find those passions that really will make a difference in your life. I always talk about the fact, too, that I don't necessarily have all of the same group of friends that I had before. They're still friends, but I've met some new ones. For instance, I happen to be, and y'all are going to love this, now I retire. And so people say, oh, would you become president of our homeowners association for our condos?
Hell no.
No.
You did?
I said, sure.
Oh my gosh,
I was
Rita.
president of a bank. How hard could this be?
Oh my gosh.
So you can imagine, I live on downtown
You like
on
herding
Beach
cats?
Drive, and here are these. Anyway, people that everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. But what it has given me the opportunity to do is to now go to the women's luncheons and do some things around that I would have never done before because I did not necessarily create time to be able to do just a fun thing.
Right.
I don't have to go to the 7 o'clock breakfast. I don't have to go to the 7 o'clock dinners unless I want to. And that makes a difference.
But Rita,
yes,
you need your head examined if you agree to be an HOA president.
They're so lucky to have her, though.
Yeah, they're lucky to have you.
Yes, every
Oh my
I's
gosh.
going to be dotted,
Member.
every T's going to be crossed.
That was so funny because I thought, how hard can this
Yeah,
be?
right?
Let's go
It's like
for it.
herding cats with rabies.
No, don't say that. No, I've got a good group. I've got great people.
But I think, Rita, what you've shared, though, too, is when you're thinking about retirement, start to identify those passions or start to identify some things that you might be interested in. So it's not like, you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do now?
Right. Because the one thing you don't want to do is just be sitting there reading a book or in front of the TV and that's it. Yeah. You need that physical activity. You need the mental the mental stimulation. You need that emotional component and know the fact that, okay, I can continue to make a difference in someone's life. When there was a segment that I recently did and it was on yesterday, all of a sudden I received 5 texts from people I did not even know that said, thank you so much. And I always share, if I am able to give one piece of advice, whether it be through helping a mother who's lost a child or whether it be through the emotional retirement, then, I feel good. I feel like my job has really been completed.
You have such a big heart.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Speaking of hearts, Sarina's favorite topic. So Rita, something that is very dear to your heart, speaking of Valentine's Day, is the American Cancer Society. Tell us about what you do with them and what they've got coming up.
I really do. My father passed away of colon cancer, and I guess I became involved about 25 years ago. I've had the pleasure of chairing Cattle Barons Ball 3 times and making strides once. It's all been just so near and dear to me. But we have Cattle Barons Ball coming up, 2 weeks from Saturday night. Wow. And it's going to be at the Motor Enclave, as you know.
Cool.
And it's such a fun thing because, my husband loves this one. I've shared with y'all earlier. He'll go to any football game in the world, but not all the time, in coat and ties. But, I can wear my jeans and my boots. I'm in. And that's what makes it fun.
I have lived in Tampa for 22 years now, and I have never been to the Cattle Barons Ball.
I know, I haven't either. there.
I invite you both to be my guests.
Oh, we would love
Yes.
to.
You can sit at my table. We'll
Oh my
have fun.
gosh,
So
we would
I'll
love
send you
to.
the information and see if
Okay.
y'all can do that, because it's only 2 weeks away. But yet, I would love for y'all to be there and be at my table.
Well, any chance to wear my cowboy boots?
Absolutely. I know. I love it. I even wear my hat, my cowboy hat. And so people say, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I said, "No, I really am a cowgirl. I'm a farmer."
That's cool. Yeah, we know.
Well, you're involved in so many things because there's something else that you wanted to share
Yes,
with us
I
that's very
do.
near and dear to your heart.
So Jason Woody is the CEO of the Lions Institute. And as you know, we have the largest World Institute here in Ybor City. And I think it's just amazing. They partner up with the Bucks, and of course they do glasses for all of these underprivileged children, which is so amazing. But what we wanted to do is bring more women into the world of vision. And so we made Women of Vision, and that's going to be kicked off on Thursday night, tomorrow night. And we're so excited about that. We have a couple of really large donations coming in, and we're going to also be honoring a couple of people tomorrow night. I won't share that just yet because that's going to be kind of cool.
Still a secret.
Yeah, that's going to be really cool. But what's so interesting about it is you don't think about those children unless you think about yourself. When I was in the 4th grade, I was having a really hard time of learning, and it all was because of my vision. And back then, they would come into the school when you were in the 4th grade, and they would do a vision test, and that's when we found out, when I had these beautiful blue glasses that had these little cat eye things on them. It was so funny. And so what happens now, though, is when they go out to your school, you get to pick out any pair of glasses in the mobile unit. And be able to, and right then and there, your glasses are made, the children have the glasses, and they get to go home with them.
What's the name of the organization again?
It's the Vision Institute. It's the
World Vision?
Yeah, yes.
I went to their gala
Yes,
last
it's the
year.
eyeball gala.
Yeah, the eyeball
Yeah,
gala. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And the big takeaway I had in terms of the information that they provided during the program about what they do is that the problem used to be they used to give vouchers for the students to go get glasses at, like one of the local lens crafters or whatever. And they said that a lot of the parents didn't redeem them because they thought there must be a catch to this.
Oh.
And so now they actually give the glasses to the kids. The parents
Right
don't even
then
have to
and
be
there.
involved.
I know, I
That's
love
wonderful.
it. I mean, they have those great mobile units that they'll take to the school. And of course, like I said, they've partnered with the Bucks because that's one of Darcy Glazer's very,
Right.
near and dear to her heart. So I said, when Jason asked me, I said, yes, we want to get more women involved. So that's going to be we're going to have 3 or 4 events each year. Each year that will bring women in. And, these will be the executive women throughout that can and will want to be able to help these young children.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, tell Jason to send somebody
Yes.
over here
I
and we'll have him on
will.
the show.
Oh, you know what? He would love that. He would
Okay.
love to do it himself.
Yeah, well, bring him on.
We would love
Okay.
to have him on.
We
You know
need
what?
more men. We've done this show, I don't know how many episodes. We've only, I think, had 3 men the whole time we've been doing it.
Yeah, Jason's great. So you know what? I'll see him tomorrow, and I will definitely connect the two of
Okay,
you up
cool.
because that would be great.
Are there any websites, how to get tickets, information about the Cattle Barons or the other foundation, IBIS?
Okay, so with American Cattlemen's Association or Cattle Barons Ball, well, what you end up doing is just going to Tampa Bay cattlebaronsball.com, and that will pull up. Now, I will tell you need to really do that quickly because we are almost sold out of tables for that.
Okay.
That's going to be an exciting one. IBIS Foundation, you can just go onto the IBIS Foundation website and be able to learn more about IBIS and what they do. What's interesting about them, they take you from the start to the finish of your mental health addiction issues. So they're not going to say, okay, I'm going to prescribe this for you, you go ahead and you'll be fine. No, if you need in-house treatment, if you need outpatient treatment, if you need the medication, psychiatrist, whatever that is. And you know what really helped me on this? I went over and visited their site, which it's an enormous site. It's just beautiful. But I saw this wing that had children. So I'm sitting there going, so are these children the children of some of the parents that might be in here? No. These are children who need help because they've gone through so much mental trauma, and things that have gone on in their homes. Who ever thinks about that? I mean, a 7-year-old that is having to have treatment now. That is so sad. So again,
Great to have that organization
it
supporting
is, it
them.
is. And I've got to say that there's so many now that are supporting along those lines. Bay Care just opened up a facility out in Pasco County. So trying to really spread out into other counties to be able to help along those lines.
Well, that's so wonderful. And
Yeah.
as Christopher said, so wonderful to know that there's organizations like that. And so wonderful to know there's so many people like you out there, Rita. So to keep up with everything you're doing, what is the best way?
For me, you can go onto my Facebook or my LinkedIn, and it's just real easy. RitaLowman.com is my, where my website is, and then of course you can go into Facebook and it's just Rita Lowman, and that's Lowman. I love to be able to have people connect. I don't do anything political or anything along those lines. It's usually about either my family or the initiatives that we have going on in the community.
And you're always got at least 2 or 3 that you're working on. Hey, listen, we appreciate you being here because we can now tell people that we had a rock star on our show.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to go home and share with my husband.
You
that y'all
tell him
call
you're
me
a rock star.
You are.
Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you,
Rita.
Rita.
I appreciate it.
Every story shared,
Adds another heartbeat to Tampa Bay.
from courage to community.
We are so proud to tell the stories that keep our neighborhoods strong.
Thanks for watching The Heartbeat of Tampa Bay. You were great.
You're great.